So should we help out immigrants who are like unable to live in their countries, like even if they want to? Like if refugees come across the border, are you in favor of like helping them out or no?
Yeah, good student, bad student. First guy up was, studying environment, but not caught up in the bullshit of the whole climate change, global warming thing. He saw right through that. And then the second student up, it was a debate challenge in town. Obviously, this kid was part of the debate challenge, who actually was pretty good at what he did. I don't think I handled him as well as I should have or could have. But, hey, after 6 hours out there in 3 days, I challenge anybody to be up to 100%. Regardless, I did what I could. And if you like me being out there, well, then you can go ahead and do what you can to keep me out there. Hit all the appropriate buttons and hit one of those contribute buttons and put something in the kitty. Be nice. Thank you. And nothing else, pray for me. All right, let's get to this and I'll see you on the other side.
Let me ask you something.
Yes.
What year are you in on studying the environment?
What year I'm sorry?
What year are you in right now?
Oh, I'm a senior.
And you're going to apply this to...
Anything that gets into the dirt, I got to test the soils in case there's any contaminants or anything like that, the batteries produce or anything like that. Just got to test just the ground that all the...
Yeah, for the pollutants.
Yeah,
the real environmental issues.
Basically, yes. That's all, just in case, because, there's always going to be leaks that you have to make sure.
Oh, sure, yeah, the environment's important, but that's, of course, this is a big concern. I mean...
Oh, yeah, I feel like it's a lot of fear mongering nowadays, especially in New York, with the little kids, they're brainwashing them, I feel, with that fear that the Earth is going to be over in 30 years and stuff like that, which is a bunch of months. Yeah, 10 years now? Yeah, within a few years, the water level is going to cover the whole country, and we're all going to die in 10 years. And I'm like, come on, it's coming. Let's not
I know. But when you're studying, do they push that kind of stuff on you?
They do. Yeah, they do. No, they do. That little girl that came in
from Greta.
Yeah, I mean, they push it a lot in class, and I feel that they're using her as, just to bring that kids in, more of that young mind into this debate, and no, I think it's just a lot of bullshit.
Yeah, it's not science.
And that's why I tell them, at the end of the day, it's all in the science. Like, it's not, change is happening, of course, but it happens throughout history. I mean, it's always some form of change going on. I mean, and on top of it, why don't they, when talking to pollutants, why don't they go to China and India? These places pollute a lot more than the United States. I mean, I don't know why they don't go there. I mean...
And then I'm wondering why, if they say the sea levels are going to rise because of all this...
Yeah.
Why did Obama just buy a $13 million mansion in the Hamptons on the shore?
Yeah, I think he bought one in Martha's Vineyard for 11.7.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I'm like, you see, but nobody talks about that because it doesn't sell. Let's put it that way. I think anything that has Trump on it will sell. It sells papers. It's good news. Let's put it that way. That's why I can't wait for this election. I think he's going to win again, honestly, because I don't think there's good Democrats out there, honestly. So,
So what do you think they push this whole hoax of the environment, of global warming and climate? Why do you think they're pushing that on us?
I think it's more, I really don't know. Honestly, I can give you some bullshit answer, but I really don't know because I hear it from both sides. And well, it's because, if we don't do it now because Trump is removing all these things from all these new handcuffs that Obama put in place to prevent any global, basically any form of CO2. And
I would ask you to do this.
Yeah.
Of course, anytime you think of government, you think of control.
Yeah, it's true.
Have you ever heard of a program called Agenda 21 or Agenda 2030?
No.
fits right in with what you're doing, what you're studying, because it's UN agenda is about sustainability, right, that have environmental dictates that go directly into our government down to the local level.
Okay.
And it's about, controlling our energy usage and where we can do and how we can travel.
Yeah.
All of it.
That's true. I mean, because that's what the AOC thing wanted to do. She was saying, like, well, airplanes are polluting, leaving pollutants when it's flying across. We should have, like, a big train going all over the place, change up the whole system, which was freaking bonkers. I mean, you imagine going to Times Square and trying to make everything environmentally friendly? No. And another thing, too, I never knew this, but environmentally friendly things, let's say, it's actually a form of gentrification as well, because you're going to build these new buildings that's going to cost way too much, push people that are poor out of the way, but they don't talk about that to the poor, the more low-income families, they talk about, well, it's cleaner air, but you know what, it's for the people with money. Sorry, but people can't afford new high-tech buildings, but again, they don't talk about it. Because again, it doesn't sound sexy. It sounds sexy as Earth is ending in 10 years, we don't do something about it now. That's what's sexy.
Just in the news was the UN talking about environmental reparations that we have to pay.
Oh, God.
Yeah, right. The U.S. will be forced to pay UN environmental reparations.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Well, okay, one, how are you going to do that? Reparations for who?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, how does pouring money into the UN clean up anything? It's called Agenda 2030.
Agenda 2030.
It's all about.
It's not the year that said the Earth is going to end as well.
Indeed, this whole thing is geared. Believe me, if you want to check this is scary.
Yeah.
Because this whole thing is geared off of AI, robotic technology, right? Off of sustainability, off of basically eugenics programs, getting rid of people. Because they really don't need us anymore. Because of this. They don't need us anymore.
It's actually happening now. If you think about it, with the new self-driving cars that are going to push the truck drivers out of employment once you start having these basically self-driving trucks that will deliver, let's say...
And that's 30% of our employment. It's truck drivers.
Yeah. So a lot of them are going to get pushed out because of these new inventions. And even, let's say, fast food with the new machines now. They're pushing people out, putting these new machines in. They place their orders and...
Let me tell you how scary it is. It was about a year ago. I was speaking to a Harvard professor of economics. And I asked them, what is that going to do to the people you see walking on the streets here right now in the next 10 years? Because it'll put 50% of them out of work. And I said, and what are we going to do with those 50% out of work people? He looked at me and said, in the past, we've killed you.
Well, that is true. I mean, in the day, when you're a peasant, they didn't care. I mean...
This is something you're going to have to face. That's why I'm bringing it up. Again, look it up. Agenda 2030, something we got to stop. Knowledge is power. So get out there and do it.
Yes,
Pleasure talking to you, sir.
Have a good one.
How you doing, guys?
Good, how are you?
Oh, just wonderful.
Okay, so I saw a sign that said, like, you're not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm just wondering why you like Trump then. Because you said you're, like, pissed. Why Trump then?
Yeah, well, I think labels, for one, kind of limit our thought processes.
That's fair.
Because we get into a group think thing.
Okay.
So, but basically, what we're talking about is ideologies here, and I like the fact that, well, you always judge a person by their enemies, too. So, I like his enemies, because they're my enemies. Because it basically gets down to two things. Nationalism against globalism. He's a nationalist. The closer we are to our government, the more individual freedoms we have.
So do you not care about other people in other countries, or is it, like, are you just America first? Like, do you not care about...
I care about everybody.
Okay.
But the point is, we can be sovereign nations and still trade with other people.
Yeah.
Other people should be proud of their countries.
Sure.
And, be nationalists for themselves, too. It's like, right now, if we were me and you to do a deal, you would be trying to get the best deal you could for yourself.
Yeah.
You wouldn't just take my first offer at something.
Sure.
Say, I'd like to get a poster from you. Okay, it's $10,000. What?
Yeah.
Screw you! I'll give you 10.
Yeah,
You know,
but
and
like,
we go
what
back-
about? So, should we help out immigrants who are like unable to live in their countries, like even if they want to? Like, if refugees come across the border, are you in favor of like helping them out or no?
Again, that goes to an individual thing. I mean, how much can we help? I mean, let me put
We
it
can
this
let
way.
people live in the greatest country in the world.
Yeah, but let me. Are you going to open up your door to anybody who wants to come in?
It's a little different because they don't have to live in your house. They can live.
Oh no, they're living in our house. We can
they're
only.
they're walking
look,
into your house and living
there are 7.7 billion people in this
Sure.
world. I mean, arguably, 6 billion of them would love to come here and live.
Sure, but
Are we going to let all 6 billion of them in?
I mean that's not possible. I'm saying, do you want to help out people who are unable to live in their home countries? Like if they're
Well, then make your own home country better. I mean, we made ours better because we had a
So
revolution here
people
to make
like
it better.
if there's like a war, people are forced out of their homes. Like how can they do anything about that?
Well, is that our responsibility?
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying like why isn't it our responsibility to help people out who need help?
I mean, again, because were we supposed to take in everybody around the world that's having a war?
You're supposed
I mean,
to take in
how do we do that? How do we do that? How do we take in everybody around the world that's in a war?
I mean, like U.S. alone doesn't
Let
have
me
to
give you
take
something you want to look up.
Okay.
Okay. This is a very important. I want to look this up. In 1964, there were two political scientists, and they were asked if you were going to bring down Western civilization, a country like the United States, how would you do it? And they says, well, you can't do it militarily because Western countries are too strong. What you do is, this is the study, this is what you do. You start brush fire wars all over the place, these little brush fire wars. In smaller countries around the world, right?
Yeah.
You create a lot of refugees. Then you play on the guilt of the host country that started those wars.
So so those people have a responsibility to help if they start.
Then you play on the guilt of the people in that country.
Okay.
You open up the borders to these people, you allow them in, you overwhelm the welfare system, and you bring down that Western civilization from the inside financially.
Okay. I guess I have a couple.
Does that sound familiar?
I just have a couple questions for that. So first off, if we start a war in another country and we cause a bunch of people to be displaced, aren't we responsible for those people if we ruin their
No, the
lives?
person that started that war, who started those
The United
wars?
States.
Yeah, but who in the United States? Because when you say that in the United States, who in the government? Because that's, again, a very monolithic thing.
Sure.
So
But
you
the
have
government
to
acts as
narrow it down to who exactly
So Trump
is.
has to pay for all of them? Is that what you're saying? Or is it Trump has to pay for their
See,
homes?
you're jumping to conclusions
That's what
here.
I'm asking you based on what you said.
And I'm asking you to slow up and listen.
Okay.
You have to break it down to who is really doing this. Now, in the lexicon today is something called the deep state.
Okay.
Now, the deep state, arguably, people like to argue that those are the people that are really running things. That presidents come and go, but the problems still remain the same.
So who are those people in the deep state?
Good question. Who controls things?
I'm asking you.
Mainly, what is most things controlled by?
People with money.
Thank you. So you go to the bankers. You look at the bankers, right? Who are the bankers? The central bankers would be the ones you want to look at. They control most of the money. Now, we have a thing called the Federal Reserve.
Yeah,
It's not even federal. We don't even know who those bankers are. But yet they control our economy and they're responsible.
What do you mean we don't know who the bankers are?
We don't know who the owners of the Federal Reserve are.
I mean,
we don't know.
Isn't the chairman giving speeches all the time, representing the Federal
He's the
Reserve?
chairman, but we don't know the banks that are controlling the Federal Reserve. We don't know who they are.
I mean, aren't there a bunch of different federal reserves throughout the United States that have accountability to the government?
No, there's the
not?
Federal
Okay.
Reserve is not federal. It's no more federal than Federal Express. They are not accountable to the government whatsoever. They're an entity unto themselves.
I disagree with that, but because they're appointed by government officials, they are government officials. They act independently of like what the president
Again,
wants.
I would ask
but they're
you
a government institution.
look at what Alan Greenspan said. You can look up what Alan Greenspan said.
Okay.
And this is a quote.
Okay.
We are not responsible to the federal government. That's a
Sure.
quote.
They're part of the government, but they don't respond. to the
They're
president.
not part of the government. There's nothing. You cannot look in a phone book under the federal government and see the Federal Reserve. They're off to the side on their own. They are not part
So
of the
who appoints
government.
them? Who appoints the Federal Reserve?
They appoint basically, or they're running things, pal. They have been running them
So,
since
but who's they? Who's
1913.
Who's they?
I would say the Bank of International Settlements is at the very top. You want to start looking at the secret societies like the Bilderberg Group, the Club of Rome.
So I just gotta ask. So Trump didn't appoint the current chairman of the Fed. He didn't do that.
They're appointed, but from whom does he have to pick? In other words, there's only going to be a select few that are going to be there, and those select few are always there.
Okay.
So the deep state really is running things. Those are the people behind the scene that really run things. It's the secret and semi-secret societies that really run things. Everything else is basically a facade. It's like a storefront window that gives us the illusion that we have some control.
So then why vote for him?
Well, I look at his enemies. Who are his enemies? You got to remember,
Sure,
they're
but
not.
like if the state's controlling everything and presidents are just
Yeah, but they're
puppets,
not in full control. Understand, they've been in control for a long time because they own the media, they own the entertainment, so they can pump out the lies and the propaganda because everything's about perception. But then I would say, start reading books like this. Start understanding what's really behind us here. I was just reading this
What's that
chapter
about?
here. This is about how the Bush family, all their money came from Nazi Germany. They were funding the
Wasn't he
Nazis.
like an oiler, like an oil company? Then he owned.
Yeah, but where did his original money come from? In other words, Prescott Bush, Senator Prescott Bush, right? The grandfather
Yeah,
of
I know.
W,
Yeah,
right?
Prescott.
Okay. He had his banks seized because they were funding Hitler. This is a matter of record.
Okay.
So you have to look behind the scenes of where all the money's coming from, underneath, behind what's going on, to really get a full picture of what is actually happening. So if the real truth were known, seriously, the real truth, there would be a revolution before the sun hit the ground today. But most people are afraid to go and look at that truth because it pulls the rug out from everything you've ever believed. I'll give you an example. This is about the trigger, 9/11.
Yeah.
Do you really believe 19 hijackers pulled off? You believe that?
Yes. Because what evidence do I have against it?
Okay, then let me ask you this question.
Like you have the recording
ask
of
you
people
this
on the
question.
plane. Like
No, let me ask you this question.
okay.
There were 3 buildings that fell in New York City in 9/11. You're aware of that, right?
Yeah.
Building number 7. You know about building number 7?
Is that like the other one besides the Twin Towers?
Yeah. Building number 7.
Okay.
WTC 7. From where we're standing from the Twin Towers, from here to that brick building down there,
Yeah.
47 stories tall, housed all 16 of our intelligence agencies and the mayor's emergency bunker. It was a fortress. You could shoot a howitzer into the windows from here to there. You wouldn't crack the windows. It's one of the most secure buildings in the world. It wasn't hit by a damn thing, and at 5:20 in the afternoon did this in 6 seconds. Perfect controlled
Isn't that 'cause
demolition.
it was connected to the Twin Towers? And they all
No,
had the same
perfect
infrastructure?
controlled demolition straight to the ground. If I showed you a picture of it coming down right now, you see the crimp, the explosions, and it coming straight down.
Sure, but like what I'm saying is the Twin Towers are a lot bigger, right? They're like 100 plus stories. So if
110.
Yeah, if those two fell, that creates like a seismic impact in the air.
And then why didn't all the buildings in between here and there collapse? Why did they stay standing?
I'm sure there's like a pretty easy explanation.
And again, why did these?
I mean, I'm not a scientist. I'm not an engineer. So
I have talked to them. I've talked to them out here. I've talked to survivors out here. The point is this: building number 7 wasn't even mentioned in the 9/11 report. Why not? Why didn't they explain why that came down? 3 pools of molten.
You said building number 7?
Yeah, I'm going to give you some information on it that you can look up. I want you to look this up.
Okay.
I actually, yeah.
Fire alone brought down the building, pointing to thermal expansion of key structural members as the culprit. This was a report done in 2017.
You know that one
Concerns that other
If that's true,
Yeah.
then why weren't the fire codes changed? If fire alone brought down that building, why weren't the fire codes changed?
I mean, like, how would changing a fire code change, like, the
Well, you'd
structure
have to. That's what their job is. Understand this.
Sure, but like, what changes to the fire code could make sure that a plane hitting
Please.
another building
I'm
didn't...
gonna go basic physics here now. Basic physics.
We're gonna start walking back to where we need to go.
What time is it? Yeah, we
Yeah.
probably should be heading
Yeah, and we
back.
want to
Here.
go to like Urban and some stores that are on the way.
Right there, architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth.
All right, we gotta go.
All
Thanks for talking.
right. Look that stuff up.
Okay, I will.
All right.
I have one too.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right. Doing what I can.
Yeah, a little snotty little bastard that guy was, but I don't know. Maybe some of those that were listening around would, get the gist and look things up for themselves and hopefully learn. I don't think a snotty little bastard will, but who knows. Anyway, thanks for coming by. Again, hit all the appropriate buttons, and God bless you, and pray for me, and I'll see you on the streets.